Hello everyone. Hello. Hello. Alright. So let's get started, guys. So welcome to the live stream of Learning Framer. So this is the first video in the stream, and today we are going to start with the basics of layout and responsiveness and how to make responsive design in Framer. So I have prepared some list that checklist, you can say, you that I'll show you guys. So to learn the basics, right? So I have added this. So this is what we are going to learn and see what all these mean and how these are added on the framer or used in the framer, right? So let's get started with this. So let's open this, right? Okay, now let's get back to Framer. And when you open up your Framer, you'll have something like this because you haven't created any projects yet. So let's get started and create a new project. And it will start with the new project. So when you create a new project in Framer, you'll see this pick a template, right? So you could use any templates that are freely available here from the list, but we are going to start with the blank project because we want to learn the basics of responsiveness and uh, how to do responsive design in Framer, right? So let's get and started with the blank project. So um, when you land on Framer, you will see some of the things here. So I'm assuming uh, you guys don't have much experience using Framer or any sort of software related to Framer, right? Or similar to Framer. So there are few things that you should know about. There is a top navigation bar where you see this untitled, that is your project name. You can rename this. Then you have some menu items that we are going to talk about this in detail later. Then you have the left hand side panels, and you have a right side white space that you see here that is totally currently it's blank because we haven't selected anything or we have not added anything on our design, right? for designing. So this is blank right now. As soon as we select anything, so let's say I select this desktop, you'll be able to see some of the properties. So this is the properties panel where you'll see all the properties related to this. uh, so this is like, this is called a screen artboard, right, or a frame basically. So frame is basically, so by default it is a desktop frame that is added by default in any new framer project, and it's added at 1200 pixel by default, right? So the width from top left, or sorry, from the leftmost to the rightmost is 1200, right? It's from here till here. If we want, we could adjust that from here. So let me just drag this a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. So you can see here some of the things like template, positions, width, height. So don't worry about templates. This is a really advanced thing that we will not be covering in this particular video, but we can cover later on. So then we have width, height. So width is that you see side to side, and height is that you see. So currently there are, you, if you want, you can modify this from here, and you see some of the things here, right? So like width 1200, fixed, relative, fill, fit content. We'll talk about these a little bit later in the video, what these mean and what actually is this. Then you see this layout, then you see this typography, then you have this cursor, effect, styles, and code override, right? So we'll go over many of these things one by one, maybe in this video, or if not in this video, we'll do it in the next upcoming videos, right? So let's get started with the basics. So there are certain things that we need to know to understand all this uh, fixed relative uh, fixed relative fill fit content, right? So we need to know a little bit about these, right? So let's get started and let's try to add something here, right? So by default, uh, its width is set to fixed, right? So if I click on the insert menu, right, on the top left corner, so you'll be able to see some of the things. But what we need to do is we go on to the layout, and you see this frame, right? We have different things. I'll explain these top four right now one by one. So let's get started with the frame first. So you can either use the shortcut key F, or you can just click on layout and add frame, right? So let's click on frame and just click and drag anywhere within this white space, right? You can click and drag, right? So once you click and drag, so you will see this rectangle or whatever shape you were trying to add on the uh, board, right? So this desktop is also a frame, and this is also a frame, right? So let's, before we jump into the details about these, let's go a little bit, uh, you can say, let's understand a little bit about the left panel, right? That we have, like we have pages, we have layers, we have assets, right? So pages means by default in Framer we have home page added, right? You can add multiple pages like about us, profile, how to, and guides, blogs, and a lot more, right? Contact us, privacy policy, and a lot more. So those are different pages, right? So you can add multiple pages by clicking on this add page button and new page, and then you can name that page. Then you have this layers panel, right? So layers are basically the structure on this particular desktop frame, right? So this desktop is a frame right now. So when we will be adding the responsive view, so you will be able to see currently we have just one desktop, then you will say see a tablet version and a mobile version here also in the layers panel, and you'll see those things on the right side of this desktop screen, right? So let's just focus on the desktop for now. So you see this desktop, and then you see an indented frame inside uh, that blue color rectangle. That is the frame that we added just now. So what this frame is exactly is kind of a, understand this as a container, right? So it's a container where you can put different things, right? So let's say if I want to add a text, I just click on go to the top navigation, click on this text, and click here, right? Click uh, on the inside the desktop, right? So you'll see this cursor blinking. So let's say this is a sample text, right? So I'm not able to spell simple. So no problem. So um, simple text, right? So now if you see here, now we have one more indentation within this frame, that is this text is, this is a simple text inside the layers tab on the uh, left panel, right? So that indentation means that this simple text is contained within this frame, and this frame is contained within this desktop, right? So like the out, outermost parent that you see is the desktop, then you have a child, that is this frame, that is child to desktop, and this frame is also a parent, and the child of this frame is this is a simple text, right? So currently you might be thinking like nothing that I have talked about till now has nothing related to responsiveness or layout, right? But we need to understand this basic part to basically understand how responsiveness and layout works, right? If you are really clear on your basics, you can really easily understand your how the responsiveness and things work within Framer, and not just Framer, but in general on web, right? So if you are talking about, uh, if you say, let's say, want to learn later on coding, or want to go get into web development, or you want to use another platform like Webflow or any other platform, so these principles will apply on any, uh, you can say, on all of these, right? So like this will be applied on, this will be applicable on Framer, Webflow, normal coding also. So all these things are like these are the basic fundamental blocks of learning uh, HTML, or we can say layout and responsiveness, right? So let's get back to the topic now. To get it a little bit more, right? So let's get back and let's select the desktop, right? Topmost part, right? So you could change the width. So uh, my preference is to add, to make this at 1440. So this gives me a little bit of both, to like tackle both smaller screen size and larger screen size. So like smaller screen size, I'm talking about a normal desktop that is 1366 pixels, or so whatever you see here is currently in pixel, because we have a fixed type added next to 1400. So this is pixel. So and it gives me a sense of a larger screen, that is like a 1920 screen width. So it basically is a little bit preference for me, but if you want, you can add any you can search on Google and add any width size basically, just to work with for now, right? So once I click on this, let's say, so let's get back to the desktop part. So when you click on the desktop one, so you have this width and you have this height, right? But currently, so let's say if I want to add multiple frames, right? So I can just alt click, right, and drag it. So like just hold your alt key and click on this frame and drag it, right? So it will make a duplicate of it, or you can just click on the frame and just press Control D, right? Or Command D if you are using a Mac. So like just Control D and you will see that you created a duplicate, right? So currently you were not able to see the duplicate because it was exactly on top of this, right? So whatever position this frame was, so when I clicked on when I pressed Control D or Command D, so it just placed exactly same frame on top of this frame, right? So that's why you were only able to see one. But when I clicked and dragged it to, so like when I just dragged it to another place, you were able to see three different, right? So let's say now let's make a bunch more to illustrate this height part, right? So if I just select this and hold alt key and just drag it, right? So you can use alt key or option key if you are using a Mac. So they both work exactly same, right? Or you could click if you are not really handy on shortcut keys for now, so you can just right click on the frame, right, and you will see this like copy paste duplicate. You'll see also that the shortcut key right here on the frame. So I have added this, right? So let's say if I want to add more, right, uh, it would be a problem. You could say like just move it up and squish them together, right? So like just make them like really tight together, right? So let's say made it like really tight. But if I want to still add one more here, right, in the bottom, let's say I'm pressing my alt key and just drag it up, right? So while you are dragging, right, so you might face this kind of thing, right? So uh, let me show you. So when you drag it here, so you'll see like this frame actually is not inside or in relation to this desktop, right? So you see these arrows, right? So you can just see like what is within this desktop, right? So I can just collapse it and expand it to see what all items or what all things are added are on inside the desktop frame, right? So you can see this desktop. So when I collapse this frame is outside of this. So like this frame does not have a parent. uh, the desktop is a different parent, and now the frame is a different parent, right? So this could happen, so you don't have to worry about this too much. So you just click here on this, right, or you can click on the frame itself, right? Both ways will work fine. So when you click on this frame, you just, let's say, drag it outside and then just put it within this area, right? So you'll see that this frame is now within this desktop, right? So like now this frame has a parent desktop as a desktop, right? So now let's get back to the desktop. Select the desktop topmost parent, and let's get back to the breakpoints, right? So basically the breakpoint is just a visual representation, or you can say a way, right, for us to divide a particular design into different uh, pieces, right? Or you can say different for different devices. So like, because a desktop is have a much larger screen size than than a tablet, and the tablet have a much more wider space available than actually the mobile, right? So uh, hello Aryan. So can you just confirm me if my voice is properly audible to you? Right. So, guys, so basically, the breakpoints are like nothing more than just, yeah, thanks, Aryan. So, the breakpoints are nothing but different, you can say, devices that you want your website to work perfectly, right? So let's say if you are designing your website for a tablet, you need to click on this add breakpoint and add the tablet version, so that you can modify the design that will look good on the tablet, right? And if you want to focus on phone, you can click on the phone and add that. And let's say if you want to add another, so by default we can add like three: a desktop version, a tablet version, and a mobile version. But if you want, you can add many more using the custom tab, and you can rename them to anything like large desktop or MacBook or whatever that feels good to you. So let's get back to the topic of width and height and this fixed relative fill and fit content, right? So by default, it is fixed, right? So relative will be disabled, right? And fill and fit content will also be disabled, right? Because uh, currently this is a frame. Just okay. Let me check. I need to check where my stream quality is. So just don't mind, guys. This is my first stream online. I'm not really sure why it's 720p, or I'm not really sure is it 720p, because like the screen that you are seeing or the screen that I've shared with you guys is a 4K screen, so like it is much more in higher resolution than 720p. So let me check if I need to make any modifications to the stream settings. I don't see any options for changing the stream quality. Uh, Let me do one thing. I think you might not be able to see things properly, right? So let me just bump it up to, not this part, but let me just bump this one. Right. So I think this should, right. Now it should look good now. Aryan, it's looking good now. You'll see a little bit bigger fonts and everything now. Right. So let's continue on to the desktop, right? The settings of this. So I'll just move it a little bit so you guys can see it properly. Right. Uh, so on this one, basically, if you see, other than the fixed part, everything is disabled. Same for just it just goes. Just give me 1 second, guys. Right. So for the height also, it just says fit content, right? So just to understand what this is, so fixed is like basically giving it a fixed size, right? So like 100 into 100 is a fixed value. But and this does not mean that for the I'm talking about desktop, right? I'm not talking about the frames that are actually added within this desktop. So I'm talking about the desktop, right? So this fixed width for the desktop does not mean that when you will be actually launching this and viewing this on a larger screen size, let's say 1920, it will not work, right? It will work. So this, as I said, this is just a way for us to design for within a particular set of constraints that are automatically adjusted based on the so that we can actually design our page, right? So let's move a little bit forward on this one, right? So now below this width and height, this breakpoint, basically this breakpoint section, right? So you see this layout, right? So what layout is so when I click on this, right? So you can click here or you can click anywhere on this particular section, right? So once you click on this one, you'll see this few things appear here, right? That is type, direction, distribution, align, wrap, gap, and padding, right? Right. We'll go, Aryan, a little bit later on with the real example. Just give me, just let me just explain the basics first, so it's not that, so that when we go on to actually adding different things onto the page, it makes sense like why this is behaving in that particular manner, right? So you see this type equals to stack. So you have this tab kind of thing, right? So either you can make this type as a stack or a grid, right? So stack is basically like if you place like your books on top of each other, so that is like a stack, right? So like you have a one book, then you have second book on top of it, and you have third book on top of it, and you have fourth book on top of that. So all three, so like you have a stack of books, right? So similarly, stack means that exactly same thing, like you have one. So in here, if you see, you can see here on the actual layers panel, right? So you see one frame, two frame, three frame, four, and five. But on this actual viewport or actual canvas, so this is like a canvas board. So on the canvas board, you are only able to see three, right? And I'll tell you why the other two are not visible, right? Like the bottom two. So so this stack and this direction is dependent, right? So like stack, you can either stack it on top of each other, like vertically stacking, or you can stack it horizontally, right? So like to stack it horizontally, like where I want these to be like side by side, right? So I just change the direction from top to bottom to left to right, right? So when you see this, so you see one, two, three, third is half cut off, and you still see the boundary if you hover over this as a blue line here. So now you have three, and still you are not able to see the other two, right? Now, to understand why I'm not able to see the other two, or you can say all the content that I have added on this desktop, right, is this height, right? So this height of the desktop, right, you need to select this desktop, not anything inside the desktop. Need to select the desktop. You'll be able to see this height, and this is the default height that when you create a new project, this is the default height that you get. But now when you click on this fixed drop down, right, so now you will be able to see this fit content, right, that was available previously also. But now what we want to do is we actually want to select this fit content, right? So what this fixed fit content is going to do is when you click on fit content, and let's change the direction from left to right, to top to bottom. Now you can see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? All the 5 cards visible now, and they are getting. So if even if I add one more, right? So let's select. I'll select the last one, and I'll just do Control D or Command D. So click on here. You can see it is visible to me if I just zoom out, right? So you can see now I have 3 on top. Then you have 3 more and 1 more, right? So because these are 7, because I added 2 more. So to get this, so now these cards are stacked vertically, and the height of this desktop is actually fit content. So that means whatever content we add within this desktop, the height will automatically increase depending upon the height or the content that we are adding, right? So if I select this first frame, you can see here the height of this frame is 325 as pixels as fixed, and you have a fixed width, right? We are going to talk about this also. So when you select any frame, right, you'll also get this fixed relative fill and fit content. Same thing here. Fixed fill, fit content, viewport height, right? And you have few more things that are available here, like min max. So if you click here, you can add max width, min width, and max height and min height. So I will go a little bit detail maybe in the next one, right? So let's say for now I don't want to change the width or height of these. Just for now, we wouldn't want to make these responsive, because if we don't make these responsive on the desktop, we will have problem when we will make a mobile responsive of this, right? So when you, let's say, so for now let me show you the difference between the fixed one, and so the all the other frames are fixed right now. So let's change the first one to select the first frame, go to width, and instead of fixed, right, then you have relative, right? So what relative does is, so it calculates the percentage, right? So relative means like if from this top leftmost to the rightmost, it is 1440 pixels. So currently the width of this Currently, the width of this frame is 39% of the total 1440, that is 100%, right? So I could make this 100% if I want to just expand it from left to right, 100%, right? So now the frame will have 100%. So if I reduce the size of this actually, so let's say if I reduce the width of the desktop, right? So let's say if I want to change it to 1200 again, this will automatically change its width to 1200, because it's added as 100% related, right? Just give me 1 second, guys. Let me drink some water. Now, similarly, in similar fashion, if we change this to fill, right? So what fill does is, what will fill do is, you'll be able to see, and we are just changing it in relation to width, not height. So when we do fill, right? So fill means whatever area is available to this frame, right? So like if this frame have, if there was one frame next to this, it will automatically reduce its size depending upon the width available to this particular frame, because we have made it to fill. So whatever area is available to this particular frame, it will fill, expand or collapse depending upon the area available to this, right? And if I do fit content, so fit content will always make, firstly it will turn this actual frame into a stack, right? Because when you are fitting it a content, then you are actually basing the width on the content that is inside the uh, this particular frame that was earlier frame, now a stack. So if I increase the, or if I, let's say, add more text, right? So let's say copy this, paste it in here, right? So now you can see the text is actually being added here, right? You can see here, right? And the width of this particular stack is being increased based on the content that is within this frame. So these are some of the basics that you understand, right? So like fit content is whatever the content is there within that parent element, right? So this could be anything. So like this is the parent element for this particular text. If we want, we can add multiple here. So let's say if I click on select this text, and if I just take control, do control D or command D, so you can see I can add, but because the, if I select on the stack, right, so the fit content is only applied on the width. Till now we have only talked about the width part, right? So now it's working on the width. Similarly, we do have same things here at fit content and viewport, right? So fit content, if I do, it will shrink itself to the available text. So if I select any text and just do command D or control D, it will do the same thing that we added for the height of the desktop, right? So here it's also fit, and on this stack also the height is fit. So it will increase its height based on the content that we are adding within the, within this first frame, right? So this is all for today, guys. We'll get back on another video with all the other responsive parts, right? So let's end today's video, and I'll add the remix link once we have actually created something from the desktop, from inside the framer, so that you guys can have a look at the actual file and how to do that, right? So for now, let's end this stream, and if let me know if you like the video, and or you would like to change, would like me to change anything, right, within this. So thank you, guys.